Let me do that again. Welcome in and welcome back to the Down South Philly show. How y'all feeling today? Before we get into the meat and potatoes of what we got going on today, we got a few housekeeping rules. First of all, this stream right here is brought to you by none other than the Sports Lounge Media. So before we get started, I need you to do me two solids. Go ahead and subscribe to the Sports Lounge Media on YouTube. And then once you're done with that, come on over to the Down South Philly show and give us a sub on that as well. It's much appreciated. We are in the first order of news we got today is just obviously last week the Eagles wrapped up OTAs and mini camp, rookie mini camp, all that good stuff. And we kind of in that part of the season where it's not much going on. We have the only true, I guess, off season that we're gonna get for the rest of the year is now. We have real training camp that starts July 22nd for the Eagles. And I think they get back on the field on the 23rd. So in the meantime, you're going to see a lot of creativity from content creators like myself because it's not much going on unless some major news drops. We're going to be talking about some things that kind of outside of the box, right? Still related to the NFL, still related to the Eagles, but not necessarily what you were getting from day-to-day coverage if you want specifics. But one of the bright spots that have come out of minicamp so far, we got reports that Keely Ringo, man. So coming into, obviously winning the Super Bowl, we had a hell of a defense, specifically on the back end with Darius Slay, Quinyon Mitchell, and Cooper DeJean doing a phenomenal job on the back end, and safety play with Reed Blankenship or Ed Reed Blankenship, how we call him on the Down South Philly show, and Coop and CJ Garner Johnson. So this year, of course, coming into the off season, we traded CJ. Um, we let Slay walk, and that left some voids. That left some voids for us. And of course, we have questions that come with that. So one of the pieces that would need to step up in order for us to succeed is Akili Ringo. I, for one, I'm rooting for him. I hope that he's able to take that next step. I believe this is maybe his third year coming into it. He was drafted along with N'Kobe Dean. He came in with Nolan Smith. So that whole group never really got a chance to play just because he's always been behind dogs. I also forgot to mention Isaiah Rogers, right? So he was kind of that guy that would come in a pinch when Slay would go down, which toward the end of the season seemed like Slay would pretty much go down at least one at some point in the game. So Keely Ringo, when he did get in, he made plays. Most notably, I think he might have either he returned an extra point or he blocked. No, I think he returned the extra point for us. But special teams, he was a dog on special teams. People don't realize that Keely Ringo is actually younger than Quinyon Mitchell. So not only was he super raw coming into the league, but he was just super young. So now he's got a chance to learn from savvy vets, year in and year out, learn how to become a professional. And we'll see if he takes that next step. So in training camp, not training camp, but in OTAs, the reports are saying that he's the leading man when they're in that I guess base defense, if you will. Of course, it's still super early. He has Adoree Jackson behind him. Um, we suspect that Quinyon Mitchell is going to continue his domination on his side of the ball, so we're not really worried about that side. Ideally, we would like to keep Cooper DeJean in the slot, just because that's where he's made the biggest impact. Um, Obviously, we feel comfortable with moving him around on the defensive side of the ball, whether that be outside cornerback. I'm hearing some reports that they even had some looks at safety. Um, in that base kind of, package where we don't really need a nickel. That's cool too. I think it's interesting to note that we all expected Sidney Brown and Makuba to battle for that other starting safety position. But there also are reports that it's actually a three-man race. Um, Tristan McCullen, however you say his name. I think and there aren't any reports that he's necessarily flashing in camp, but it is more than a two-man race when it comes to Kennedy Corbett. What you talking about? Not yet. Um, when it comes to the battle for who's going to take that safety spot, it's sounding like a three-man race. Now, we do realize that this early in the season, we have no idea who the starting 11 are going to be, right? Or the starting 22. A lot of guys are getting some looks. Another, I guess, honorable mention would be Smile Munden getting some early playing time. But that makes sense, right? Because we got Campbell that's hurt, we got Nakobe Dean that's hurt. Not really a big surprise there. Somebody had to get those reps. So between him and Trotter Jr., they're the only ones really available to take those reps. Obviously, we would have loved our first round draft pick to be available, but we knew that he was hurt. That's part of the reason why we was able to get him at 32, or 31 rather. So he's gonna get his first taste of action in August. Can't wait for that. But meanwhile, Smile Munden and Trotter Jr. are getting some valuable reps, right? That's what you want. You want them to get as much as they can, especially being as young as they are. Obviously, nobody's hitting yet. They won't put the pads on until training camp. But you like what you see so far out of a Smile Monday. Obviously, you want Trotter Jr. to take that next step to, get some more playing time on the field and be, one of those major pieces that could potentially help us get back to the Super Bowl. Because let's not kid ourselves. We all want another Super Bowl run if we can. Um, which brings me to my next part of the puzzle. So obviously, with any good Super Bowl run, you need some depth, right? Now, I've been banging the table for a vet, right? Um, Specifically in the cornerback room, and maybe safety as well. But I think from a depth standpoint, we're kind of weak when it comes to cornerback. Now, as soon as Jair Alexander got released, um, I was one of those guys. I made a video that was saying, "Hey, we could possibly add him to the fold, not necessarily as a starter, but for the right price, he could come in and be a vet in that room. He could also be one of those pieces if we get hurt down the stretch. We may need him to play some valuable minutes for us." And I'd rather have a piece like that in-house than having to scramble right before a trade deadline, or it happening after the trade deadline and you just kind of stuck with whoever is on the practice squad. So there are reports that he could sign a one-year deal with us. Obviously, as Philly fans, we link every available player to Philly, right? Why? Because Howie generally makes moves. Howie is one of those guys that is just he's gonna kick the tires whenever he can. And with that being said, Jair Alexander is just one of those names that's tied to us, and he's probably gonna be tied to us until he signs somewhere, right? It makes sense from a depth standpoint. I don't necessarily know that he would come in day one and be the starter. But what do y'all feel about paying him $16 million? I I don't really. My boy Don, welcome in your other co-host. I'm in the building.
What's going
Going on
on?
with you? Oh, let me get the screen right. Perfect timing. But we was just kicking it about Jair Alexander. Obviously, we talked about him a little bit when he when we first got the news that he got released. But there's still reports that he could possibly be signing with Philly for a 1 year deal. We already know how you feel about him, but how do you feel about that number and what that would mean if we added him to the squad?
Um, I mean, the man price is the man price, but at the same time, 16 million kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And it's only crazy from the standpoint of not talent wise, but it's crazy from the standpoint of, he can't really stay on the field lately. So, um, to be to be paying somebody 16 million, then you don't know if they're gonna get injured then, or they mess around to get injured, and then you got all that money invested into one player, one position, and they're not even able to help you out. So, um, the only way, the only way I would be comfortable with the team paying them that, and then let me say this too, because I'm typically the person that like, bro, it don't even matter about the money, which it really don't, because at the end of the day, it's up to Howie. Hey, however they want to use the money, if he feel like he got enough, whatever, hey, that's on you. But at the same time, it's kind of like in this type of situation, what teams normally do is, they yeah, like if they was to negotiate with him, I'm sure they would try to like come to a number that he cool playing with, and then everything else that you want to make, it gotta be like in incentives or something like that. Like me personally, like bro, you can't really stay on the field. I'll give you like 9 mil or something like that's like dang near half. But bro, you got to get the rest in incentives or something like that. But as far as the talent and the player, oh yeah, I'm with it. I'm with it. But I mean, it's the reason why he on the market right now as it is. It ain't like he a bum. Like he on the market right now because Green Bay probably feeling like, look, you a good player, but we can't even really use you. You never on the field, so we might as well save that bread and pay somebody else. Because they 9 times out of 10, you gonna play maybe half the season, and then you just getting paid basically to be on the bench. So 16 million kind of steep. But if they want to like, if he want to make like 16 million, but a lot of that is like incentive based, and like maybe like you got to pay a certain percentage of snaps and stuff like that. Um, it is what it is. Now, if I'm him, this is an organization that I want to come to, because you trying to get that. Now, if you come to Philly, stay healthy, win the starting job, and ball out, go on a deep playoff run, hey, you gonna get that bag. So, do you want to bet on yourself, or is somebody willing to, for lack of better words, overpay and see if you work out? Now, I just seen not too long ago like a little one of these like a little posts or whatever, and it was talking about Lamar Jackson trying to recruit him to come to the Ravens, because I guess they used to play together in college. So
Yeah, I didn't know that.
that's what the post said. I ain't fact check it, but it was like Lamar Jackson hollered at his GM and was like, "Hey, go get him." He would love to play for him. They play together in college or whatever. I'm sure his GM probably like, yeah, yeah, we want him too, but we got to negotiate 16 million.
Yeah, that's a little steep, especially considering we could potentially already have our guy, and
Yeah, that too.
signing him would pretty much be like for depth purposes as opposed to like somebody to replace Slay. I don't think we necessarily looking for
Nah,
somebody outside of the building to replace Slay. So that's a big number. But like you said, if Howie want him, he gonna make it happen for whatever number he need to. And it makes sense from his standpoint, unless he's still trying to go somewhere and be the guy from day one. Now, if that's a fact, on top of the fact that obviously he want his bread, then he probably won't be in Philly. But if he willing to be a team guy and get his opportunities when they come, and help an organization actually make a push for not only a playoff run but a Super
right,
Bowl run,
right.
then
Yeah,
it'll make the sense.
I agree. He can come to me. From I'm sure from his standpoint, he want to go somewhere and be a starter on a great team and have a chance to get money next year and also compete for a championship. So I'm sure he'll choose that over like going to another situation where he maybe might be, not the guy or whatever. But I mean, come over here, like you said, you come over here. Like, even like when I was initial made the initial video, like I don't even necessarily want him to start. I just need a solid depth piece, like in case somebody go down or come in, just like I was saying, like Isaiah Rogers did here and there, certain packages, or somebody go down for a couple snaps or a couple games. Hey, come on in, and then you make it. But you see, Isaiah got paid. And
off
then
of the role that he had.
exactly, and when you on a great team like this, your opportunities gonna come, and you gonna be playing in some a lot of televised games. People gonna get to see you, and then when you go on this deep playoff run, everybody willing to overpay anybody who on the champ, coaches, players, everybody gonna get paid. So I mean, this kind of like a win-win situation. Now you go over there to the Ravens, you might not, hey, you might not get paid.
I think it'll be honestly, if I'm looking at it from his standpoint, we kind of similarly built to Baltimore, so that might make sense for him too. Um, just from a standpoint that them boys, they could
I agree.
possibly do something this year too. So either way, I don't think from his standpoint you could go wrong with either
Yeah,
organization unless he's just trying to get as much money as possible. Then I mean,
right.
that's the thing that we don't know is his mindset behind it. Like as a fan, obviously you want your team to get whoever is available or the best players that's available to help you. But it's gonna come down to like what he want to do.
And only he know his body. Like he know if he feel like I still got a good bit of time in this league because you gotta. Are you thinking about it from a couple of different standpoints of, all right, I'm want to get all the, like you might put yourself in a situation where like you trying to get all the money you can get now, and that might be the last bit of money you can get, but you might take a
Hmm.
little bit less money now, go make some shake, and then get a 2 3 year deal versus maybe another 1 year deal, or maybe not. You know what I'm saying? Well,
Hmm.
he young, so he'll get another bag. But as far as getting a contract somewhere, like you mess around and come to Philly and stay healthy for a whole season,
Hey,
you getting a 2 to 3 year deal somewhere else for sure.
and I think I like what you said because his comp coming in, if he were to come to Philly, would be a Isaiah Rogers role. Like he he had a chance to be the starter. As a matter of fact, he probably won the starting job. He just got hurt, and then once Q balled out, you couldn't. It was no way that you could
Right?
take
Yeah.
him out.
Yeah, for sure.
But he parlayed that into a bag. He
Yeah,
went
for real.
somewhere and got paid from it. So
Exactly.
ideally, that's probably what he would want to do. Now, the difference I would say, the main difference is, and we saw this all coming into last off season, was the fact that Rodgers was just excited. He was happy for the opportunity to get to play
Man,
the game that he loved. And you saw that with every post. You saw that with every interview. Like he just lit up just over the opportunity to get to play the game again. So that's two different mindsets, right? Being able to
facts.
play the game that you love and not have any idea if you could play it again. But he know Alexander, he know he gonna get to play somewhere. So
Yeah,
that's a way different mindset than what Rogers was doing. And he showed that he was appreciative of the opportunity because every time he got in, he just balled.
man. What that man was a play waiting to happen, boy. I can't wait to see him getting on the field just from like all his off season posts. Now, like you said, it's a little bit different mindset probably coming in and different personalities, but like you said, I don't think him personally, I don't think he can go wrong going to either organization. Like
Hmm.
just being realistic about it, like you really can't go too wrong going to either organization. You kind of gotta, you know, it depends on what exactly he looking for, like you said. So, and I think he more likely to be the starter in Baltimore.
Probably with what they got. I'm not 100% sure what they got, but I know at one time that they was last year when they made the switch to putting Humphrey in the slot, they that's when they saw their most success. But I don't know if he slide back out to the outside or they got pieces over there. So
Yeah, is
it'll definitely be some
Baltimore
confidence.
They got a cornerback last year, right?
Yeah, I
And
think they drafted somebody high too.
I think they got what's his
They got
name?
a dog.
Dude out of Clemson.
Yeah.
I really liked him when I first saw his tape, but that was before I seen
Hmm.
Quinion. But he was, I think, Nate Wiggins. Is this his name?
That's it. That's
Yeah.
it. So I mean, they got him and they got Humphreys. So depending on where they're gonna put them, I'm not too familiar with how their offseason is
But
going,
the
but
way they secondary look, they need all the
whew,
help they can get too. So
yeah. But
they want
don't
injury
forget
away.
they also added Malachi. They got
Yeah, for sure.
Hamilton from the year
Yeah,
before who we wanted. So
they defense
they
gonna
got
be
some
lit.
pieces. Yeah, but
That
I mean,
defense
they
gonna be
defense
lit.
always good though.
Yeah,
Like
for
that's
sure.
what when you think of the Ravens, that's what you think of defense. Now, when they drafted Lamar, that changed how you look at them a little bit, but they've always had defense, even
Yeah,
when they
for
didn't
sure.
have a quarterback.
Yep. No, I agree.
But it'll be interesting to see like where he end up. Um, but that was just one of the things I wanted to talk about in training camp. You missed the reports that I was saying that Ringo was showing out in camp, which no surprise there. This is just his time to show whether he can beat a guy or if he's gonna be like just what he was last year, just one of them relief type players when the guy go down. But the reports are saying that he's having a good camp. Now we got to take it with a grain of salt because one, it's camp, and two, they haven't put on pads yet. Um, but early reports are showing that he focused. He looking good. He came in shape, which is a good start. But we have heard of players have amazing camps, even when the pads come on and don't bust a grape when the season starts. So,
Right.
um, right now it's really his job to lose. Um, he got Adoree Jackson behind him, competing for that position. So it's gonna come down to if he can stay healthy and what he shows in camp and in preseason.
Hmm.
So I'm excited to see like who ultimately gonna win that battle for that job. But I mean, ideally, if he could step up, that would be huge for us.
Yeah, I agree. Hopefully he stay healthy through camp because I hate for him to be showing out in camp because a lot of times I hate when guys just like Isaiah Rodgers, I hate when they like
Hmm.
showing out in camp and then we have an injury and it ain't even really like a long-term injury, but when you in camp and you miss a few practices or a week or two,
Them
it's
some huge
another
reps.
guy out there getting them reps and it's like, hey, you done messed up. Now he's starting. So or because a lot of times, boom, you miss a week or two, now you got to come back and get in the groove. Why are you trying to get in the groove? This person taking off. So um I hopefully everybody stay healthy through camp and we can see who's who and who get that starting job. And yeah, I think Keely can hold it down though. And just like I was saying last time we was on here, what people gotta understand is um even when the game start, if he win a starting role, hey man, give him some time. Like if he give up a touchdown, y'all can't be out here. Get Keely out there. Put a they quick to call for a backup. Put a Dory in. Dory done not got the starting job for a reason. 9 times out
Facts.
of 10. But you just gotta give him some time and let him get a few games under his belt. It's gonna be the same with safety. If Makuba or Sydney end up starting that safety, you gotta give them a couple games to get right too. But at the same time, man, I think Fangio, I know he's gonna put the best man out there for the job, and I know the defense gonna be solid. And it's gonna what Keely got the up on is he was in the system last year, so he got that
Hmm.
up on the Dory. He got the ability, he got everything that said he should be a starter in the league, man. So I think he can hold it down, and if he can go out there and hold it down, man, now we can stop worrying about that corner position. It wouldn't and not that I'm not even not that I'm worrying about it now. Like I've been saying, my only concern is like depth. Like if let's say Keely do got a job, if he go down, like now we down to a Dorian Quinion. Like what the
Hmm.
hell?
Or worse.
What the hell?
Or worse. But yeah,
Right?
I always forget that he actually younger than Quinion Mitchell. So,
Yeah, for sure.
when he came in the league, he was just super raw,
Yeah,
super young.
young
So
player.
he got to have like that traditional NFL experience where you get to sit behind vets and learn and
Yeah,
grow.
for sure.
So that's valuable. Like not only seeing us go to the Super Bowl, but seeing like how Slay and them boys play week in and week out, and get in and make some plays yourself when you got your opportunities.
Yeah, I think between Keely Ringo and these is players like we haven't. I feel like people on the edge of kind of on the edge about, but between like Keely, Sidney Brown, and Jordan Davis, I think not saying that the Keely and Sidney gonna start, but I think out of all three of those guys, we're gonna see they like best season yet, like what they can really do. So that's what I'm saying. Um, man, sky's the limit for them dudes.
Man, I hope so because we need our young guys, especially with like how we constructed our team and let a lot of vets walk out the door this off season. We need our young guys to step up because that's the only way we gonna be able to make it. That's how it was last year. It's a couple key positions that we had young guys in, and if they didn't step up, we was toast. So hopefully we can continue to had that kind of development with the young guys in Vic scheme, year 2 of Vic scheme, and see what they can do.
Man, by mid we'll and then with the teams we got to play, man. Once we get past like the first 6 games, man, we'll be a well-oiled machine, probably already rolling.
Yeah, I agree. But in the another thing I wanted to add from camp was my boy Jahan Dyson.
And Dyson, I couldn't see who that was.
Let me switch it up.
Yes,
My boy
sir.
Jahan Dyson. So that's another person in camp that's been showing out, came in focused. And last year, Philly fans could say that some Philly fans could say that he didn't pan out. We got fleeced, giving up a second round pick for him. But honestly, every time he was in, he made the move that we needed or the play that we needed when we called his number. So he didn't do
Saints game,
anything. Yeah. Saints game, uh against the
Jacksonville.
Jaguars, obviously the Super Bowl,
Then the other game where I think
the
Hurts was out.
Giants.
Was it the Giants? Yep.
The Giants, the last game of the season.
Yep.
So every time we've called his number, he's made play after play for us. And like I didn't see nothing last year that would suggest that he wasn't worth the pick.
Yeah, I agree. Not to make a comparison, but I like him in that role better than I like damn, what's the other guy we had before him?
A nice.
No, the year before.
Oh, you talking about that went to Washington?
Nah, he for the Cardinals now. I'm talking about third wide receiver role. Quiz.
Quiz what? Yeah.
Yeah, I think he in Arizona right now, but I like him in that role better than I like Quiz, just because I think Dotson is like a real number 2 receiver. Like he can hold down a number 2 spot for sure. He just not number 2 on this team. So the only reason why we didn't see what he could do last year is because one, biggest reason is because he missed camp.
Mm-hmm.
Because we got him late in the season, and like you don't build that chemistry with Hurts, you might not get that many looks. And then it's only so much ball can go around. Saquon was doing this thing. You got to feed AJ. You got to feed Smitty. So I think we see a bigger role out of him this year, especially since defense is going to be playing us different this year. Defense is going to be playing us different this year, and I think that's going to leave a lot of opportunity for Dotson to eat. And y'all know, or at least you know, what I always say my recipe is: feed the tight end. You feed Dallas Goddard, and you feed that third wide receiver, it's gonna open everything else up. Dallas Goddard, like AJ, always open. Dallas
Mm-hmm.
Goddard, they ain't there always open, bro. So if you feed the tight end, make them think about somebody other than AJ and Smitty, nah, it's like, dang, you gotta pick your poison. But I think Dotson, I think he really gonna have a real like crazy season. he gonna get a bag somewhere. I think him and Hurts gonna build. They already talking about it. They already talking about how good of a camp Dotson and Hurts was having. And I
Mhm.
said that before it even started. I said I feel like they're gonna be talking about it in camp. I feel like when it once camp start up in July, they really gonna connect. And I think they've been spending some time together in the off season. But I like Dotson in that third receiver role for sure. And what I was getting ready to say earlier was the only reason why he didn't get the opportunities was Hurts just didn't throw him the ball. It wasn't nothing he was doing.
And you said something with the connection that he didn't get to make with him in the off season last year, and the connection that he building with him already with the limited amount of time they had in camp. That's probably gonna make all the difference for what we see from this coming year, and just getting them more involved in the offense. A full offseason has to do wonders for any player who's trying to be successful. This a proven year for him. Obviously, we declined his 5th year option, so this year, this is it. Ain't no, he don't have no other option. Like, obviously, I don't think even if he have a bad season, he'll still be able to play in the league. But this is his time to maximize his bag. He
Yeah.
go out here and show out. He'll get, it's the Philly effect. He gonna get a bag somewhere.
Well, you see how what's his name went to mess around and get one of them deals like Ridley when he went to Tennessee.
broke off, broke off. But
But
yeah,
yeah, I think at the end of the season, I want all these dudes on 1 year deals. Oh, I want all of them to get broke up at the end of the season. I want to have to replace all them dudes because they didn't went somewhere and got broke. That means we had a hell of a season and they had a hell of a season.
facts, facts, and that's ideally what we want is for everybody to show out. But that's just a few of the key pieces that's been showing out in camp, and we expect kind of like a breakout year from them in one sense or another. But for the main event, of course, why everybody here today, we got to talk about Swole Batman, AJ Brown. So this is his stats from last year. Now, albeit not super impressive, we got to take into account that he was hurt a good bit of these games. Actually, him and Smitty was pretty much hobbled for uh a quarter of the season.
Yeah.
But people, we it's easy to forget because Saquon had the year that he had, but um, you know, we was kind of hurt for a little bit,
Yeah, people forgot
especially
about that.
initially. hmm So we was kind of hurt for a little bit. He still got another 1,000 yard season, albeit you know, he was hurt. So I mean, he was still able to give you these type of numbers and miss time. That's pretty impressive to me. Um, but I wanted to talk about like what AJ Brown means to Philly, because even with everything that was, it was weird last year because fans was saying he was a diva. We was kind of split on should we trade him, was he a distraction? But really, like to take it all the way back to 22, like before he even played it down, it just seemed like when we traded for him, that's when our Super Bowl window opened up, in my opinion. And he came out there, balled out. Him and Hurts had a crazy connection. It was a
Man.
1,400-yard season. And then I think that next year in 23, he had another 1,400-yard season. As a matter of fact, in 23, he was on pace for a 2,000-yard season, but I think either he got hurt or, that's around the time where stuff just went left for us. But uh when AJ is on the field, we are a better team. And it ain't that's just a fact. When AJ is on the field, we got a better chance to succeed. He make Smitty better. Smitty made him better. The both of them being on the field obviously opened up the run game. And Hurts being a running quarterback, he opened up the run game as well. So when we have our pieces on the field all together, we a hard team to beat, and we've shown that over the past 3 seasons. But specifically when AJ is on the field, it's like he take us to a whole nother level
That's a fact. I mean, you talking about one of the best receivers in the league.
in the league.
Like I would have never imagined we would have had AJ, and it was crazy because I remember I remember like AJ's second year in Tennessee. I was like, man, that dude. I was like, that wide receiver they got in Tennessee, boy, he a dog. And then
Mhm.
I remember that year he was recruiting Julio to come to Tennessee. And next thing I know, he in Philly. Like I never would have thought we would have got AJ. But that
Never.
was one of the best things how we could have did. You went and got your guy, one of the top 5 receivers in the league. And I say top 5 because any given season, a lot of these dudes interchangeable. Um, so you like you said, they opened up the window right there. And if that 23 season would have, like if we would have had a defense, he would have had more yards that season. But everything just went to hell in the handbasket or whatever. But I mean, if you look at his, I've seen a post earlier comparing his number and Jamar Chase like over I don't know how many years, but um a lot of AJ stats was better. Now, of course, Chase got that last year he just had, and of course,
Went crazy.
when you in a situation like that, they was throwing the ball so damn much because they was always behind or losing the
Mhm.
game or about to lose the game. Of course, his numbers going crazy. Now, I ain't saying that to take away from him. I'm just saying sometimes you gotta put stuff into perspective.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, AJ Brown, that dude, man.
I think obviously nobody's saying that, you know, like you said, Jamar Chase or Justin
Justin
Jefferson, them
Jefferson.
boys gonna ball. They gonna ball. They situation is just much different to me. One thing that we can say about all three is they all got competent number twos, that can be borderline number ones on any other team that don't already have a solidified number one.
True.
But the biggest difference to me is we also got a hell of a tight end. We also got the best running back in the league. So it's a lot of mouths to feed in Philly. And for you to still come out week in and week out and put up your numbers and be that guy that whenever AJ one on one, we know for a fact that he got
It's over with.
he it's good as caught. It ain't a DB in the league that can really cover any of these top guys if we want to be real. But we got one of those guys that if we see one-on-one coverage, no matter who the DB is, we know where the ball going and we know it's probably gonna be
What
for a touchdown.
we done seen every team we done went up against AJ Brown pretty much. He done 1-on-1. He done cook their number one guy.
It's over.
And at the end of the day, you also got to think about it. It's the NFL, man. It's gonna be hard to cover any of these top wide receivers 1-on-1, man, because they know where they going. You don't know where they going. So,
Hmm.
a lot of people be like, "Well, he got safety, man. Look, don't be out there trying to be the man. Get that safety help."
Hmm. Facts. Play
For
in the
real,
scheme.
for real.
And if it's a play to be made, make it. But I I don't I don't see us being it was hard for me to envision us being successful without a guy like AJ Brown. I never, like you said, I never in my wildest dreams thought that it could ever be possible for him to be on our squad because we went through a lot of dark times of no, we ain't had nobody on the squad. We talking about JJ Ortega Whiteside. We talking about Jalen Rager, with our number 3 being
Travis
Greg
Fulgham.
yeah, he man, it was rough. It was rough. So that period after the Super Bowl in 2017,
Oh, it got
um
ugly. It got
it,
dark.
it got real dark. So for us to be, fast forward to 22 and well, in 21 where we got Smitty, he was a bright spot. He was already better than anything that we had since the Super Bowl. And then we double down once we make, Hurst the number one guy and get him another number one guy. Man, sky was the limit after that. So with when it comes to like rating a guy like AJ Brown, he may not necessarily get the nod as the number one guy all the time just because he got so much around him. But he just as good as any of them other guys that you want to throw in there.
Yeah, like I said, at any given time, any of them dudes interchangeable, depending on because what most people do is they prisoners of the moment. So whoever balling at that time, that's who they gonna put as their number one guy. Cause the 23 season, CD had a crazy season that season. That's
Crazy.
when everybody wanted to start jumping on the CD train. Hey,
Mhm.
CD, but and now they starting to put him in more conversations and stuff like that. But at any given moment, it's really like you always say, it's really whatever your preference is.
Mhm.
So yeah, a lot of them dudes interchangeable. Now, as far as being the best receiver in Philly,
Yeah.
what you
Yeah,
think?
we gotta get there. So, to me, and I gotta put it in the context of being a fan in the early 2000s. So, from the early 2000s to now, there is no better wide receiver in franchise history to me. And I have to put respect on a guy like T.O.'s name, but even as great as T.O. was, it was only one season. So I can't that weighs in my ranking, if you will. When I think about great receivers in Philly, I'm thinking about the Deshaun Jacksons. I'm thinking about even the Jason Avants on the lower
Man,
level because he missed the third down. I don't care what nobody say.
he
When
had
it's
them hands,
third
man.
down, he got some of the most reliable hands in the game. Um, so when we think about him being a part, AJ being a part of a Super Bowl team and being one of the reasons why we such a good team every year since he been here, it's hard for me not to put him in that number one spot in Philly.
Yeah, if you're just talking about, and just to put this in context for people, it's like really just talking about the best receiver or like wide receiver in franchise history as far as like their body of work in the
Right.
franchise. Because if you're just talking about individual wise, of course T.O. in the Hall of Fame, so you got to say
Yeah,
T.O. But if
you can't really.
yeah, but if you're just talking about as like their tenure in Philly, like what they done, their body of work, is AJ without a doubt. Now, had we not let Deshaun Jackson go,
Hey,
AJ would have probably a little. Him and Smitty would have a little mountain to climb because DJ was doing his thing, and whether we would have won the Super Bowl with him or not, we would never know.
right.
But since we did let him go, a lot of any records that he had either been broken or they very catchable. And he didn't even get to break a lot of records himself because he got up out of here prematurely. So same thing with Shady. Had Shady been here his whole career, he would have got it, man. He would have,
And he put in work here too. Like
man,
even
for
though
sure.
he left early or he got traded early, but while he was here, like he say, crazy work. And to put in the context, like no matter how so Saquon had an amazing season last year, but I don't think he can't be in the discussion for Philly greats at the moment because there's only one season.
One season, yeah.
So that's kind of what I talk about. Same thing with AJ. It's like he at this point we've seen 3 years of what he can do.
Hmm.
And he's been able to produce at a high level like every year he been here. And I don't see unless some crazy injury happened, we
And that was
should expect
after,
another one.
and that was after they initially said who gonna get him the ball.
Facts. Facts. So that's the that's like the catch 22 of this, right? So the same thing, like you mentioned, CD Lamb earlier, how he had that crazy season now, and it probably was that then, but Cowboys fans swear that it ain't even close. The debate between AJ and CD Lamb ain't even close. Like CD Lamb head and shoulders better than AJ, and I just, as a football fan, I don't see how you can make that kind of claim seriously. Because even though we don't rock with the Cowboys at all, game recognized game. CD one of the best receivers in the league.
Yeah, he top 10.
What no matter how I feel about the organization, the facts is the facts. But for you to sit up here and make a claim that AJ can't tie CD's boots, that's cap.
Yeah, I feel like CD. We always knew his potential, but I feel like
Mhm.
he really just started getting in the conversation that 23 season when him
Mhm.
and Dak kind of had that little stretch, kind of just like right before they had their stretch. AJ and Jalen had went on that little stretch when they was doing the 200-yard games. And
Mm-hmm.
then right around towards the end of that, that's when CD and Dak started doing their thing. So um I think CD is top 10, but like I said, he just not entering that conversation. And like people tend to forget, and especially when like somebody like AJ, a Philly player involved, they wanna um say something negative about him anyway, or leave a Philly guy out of the conversation. But like with me, I don't care if you play in Dallas or not. I keep it 100. If you're a good player, you're a good player. If you top this or number one or whatever, I'm gonna say it. Just like I was saying all last year, one of my favorite players to watch was Overshown. That linebacker they got. Hey, he
He
a
was making
dog.
plays.
For real, he a dog. I was like, damn, who's the dude? He flashing every play, every game. I'm like, what? But yeah, so um, but as far as CD, he top 10. But like I said, a lot of them guys who top 5 or you that top 10 a lot of these dudes interchangeable, or like any given game, any given week, or any given season. A lot of those dudes interchangeable, man.
Facts. And here's the cycle when it comes to anything related to Philly, and I guess if you want to say division or even outside of the division, when they get to Philly, they wash. They're not gonna do nothing.
For sure.
When they ball out because of course they one of the top players in the league, and
Hmm.
and they got somebody on their team that's better than whoever we got as our top guy. That seemed to be the cycle. Especially when you talking like the Philly Cowboys
Right.
rivalry.
Right.
That's pretty much
Number
the
one.
cycle of you get a player, he ain't gonna do nothing for your team. Then he ball out, and then it's of course because he was a top guy, and we got somebody that's better than him. So that's
Hmm.
kind of that vicious cycle that we got to go through every
And
year.
and you leaving out the part where they gotta they don't got nobody on defense. Yeah, our guys better than y'all guys, but our defense we ain't got no defense. But our guys better than y'all guys though.
Hands down.
Player for player, our linebacker better than y'all linebacker. What's Diggs better than? But we don't got no defense though. We don't got nobody on. Man, shut up.
But y'all
Like
players better than us.
they argument never makes sense.
Never.
Never makes sense. At the start of every season, we sit here and watch these panels with Eagles and Dallas play. Everybody talking about who play it better, whatever. All y'all in the mix, y'all in the argument. But at the end of the season, when your season ain't go according to plan, you ain't talking about none of that. All you had the best player, this and that. When they get to we ain't have nobody. Y'all got a super team. Where at the beginning of the season, you said all your players was better than us.
Mm-hmm.
Sound like y'all got a super team, but man, people just be talking. That's why I try to be realistic. Like sometimes people just being fans or they just want to be in the debate, but I just keep it realistic. If your guy better than my guy, your guy better than my guy. Like I don't even really do it for argument purposes. Like if you got a guy that's better than my guy, now some people will think that it's being biased. Like if I say Jalen Hurts better than Dak, people will think like I'm being biased. But no, I really think that Jalen Hurts better than Dak. And I think what Jalen Hurts is most underrated at is his decision making.
Mm-hmm.
His decision, he got the tools to do whatever he need to do. But I think what separates him is his decision making, and his poise in big moments. Them two things right there alone is what separates him.
Man, we could go.
Cause
We
how
can.
many times people talking about we fourth down, and just as many as almost just as many as time as people talking about well y'all only winning or keeping drives going because y'all doing the tush push with it. Man, look at how many times on fourth down we throw a bomb to Smitty or AJ. Fourth down, it could be 4th and 1, 4th and 2, 4th and 3, 4th and 6.
Don't matter.
Bomb because a lot of times in that situation, that comes with having a guy like AJ. If you give him some cushion, he just gonna kill you with a slant.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you come up, you ain't got no safety help over the top. They gonna hit you. They gonna hit you with a bomb. But it's like you kind of gotta pick your poison. And that's why we end up getting so many bombs, because it's like you gonna give up a first down. Like a lot of times, you might want to just go ahead and get that up,
Mm-hmm.
because you going up try to take that slant away. Nah, AJ might be going for 6.
We got we got somebody to weigh in on the Philly franchise debate.
Yeah, but we explain what we was talking about by that. Now, if you talking about just individual player, wide receiver, best wide receiver we ever had, it was Terrell Owens. But if you talking about the body of work while you been in Philly, best wide receiver
In Philly.
is AJ Brown. Terrell Owens was only here 1 year. But if you're talking about just an individual wide receiver who's the best wide receiver to ever play in Philly, it's Terrell Owens. It ain't even no argument. It's Terrell Owens. But if we talking about who put in the best body of work, best wide receiver that we did, because T.O. was only here 1 year. He ain't win no Super Bowl. Went to a Super Bowl, but he ain't win no Super Bowl with us. He ain't put up a bunch of years of consistent numbers. He was here 1 season. So it's
And he got into it with McNabb when he was here.
but yeah, so it gotta be AJ.
All right, so give me, well, since we back on the subject, who your top 5 who on your, let's not go top 5. Let's go who on your Mount Rushmore of Philly wide receivers.
Oh man.
Now you can go 4 or 5, whichever one. If you got 5,
Well,
you can
you
put
know,
5.
the two we just talked about, AJ and T.O.
Mm-hmm.
Now you gotta think about. I've only been an Eagles fan since 2001.
Early 2000s.
Yes, so like I've been an Eagles fan since like 2001. Um, if y'all go back and look at our very first video, I talked about. I remember the first Eagle game I ever seen. And it made me an Eagles fan. We actually lost that game, but anyway. Um, so I really only can talk about the guys that I've seen. I know about the other guys, but I ain't watched none of them dudes play like with my own eyes. Like I know about them, but for me, it had to be Deshaun Jackson, T.O., AJ. Uh, trying to think of if I'm forgetting anybody. I think I had to put Avant in that last spot. Am I forgetting some honorable mentions? Like, yeah, I put Avant in that last spot. I always really liked Avant. I'll say 2 honorable mentions who had like some big time games, some big time catches. Jeremy Maclin and Freddie
Ooh.
Mitchell. Freddie Mitchell.
Yeah. Yeah. Macklin was a dog, man. And so that's really
That was my
the
favorite
year that
duo
we
until we got
drafted.
the one we got now, boy. Jeremy Maclin and
Facts.
D-Jack. Oh my God.
That was nasty. They was nasty. Um, coming into the year that we drafted that Macklin out of Missouri, I was hella excited because that was the first year that was the first year of me being a fan that we got somebody that I actually wanted. Um, and obviously it's happened since, but when we drafted Macklin, I was super excited just because I followed the SEC and SEC football. So I knew, well, Missouri wasn't in the SEC at that point. But I for some reason I watched a lot of Missouri football and I saw oddly enough, his quarterback was Chase Daniels. Chase Daniels actually had a good college career. He was lighting it up, but he mainly because he was throwing it to Macklin. But when he got to Philly, he was one of those guys that just instantly just made plays. And like you said, ultimately ended up being a part of a hell of a duo. Him and Macklin, him and D-Jax, when they was both on the field, they was pretty much unstoppable. And just to think about one season in particular where we had Macklin, D-Jax, Vic, Shady, Selleck, them boys was balling when they was on the field and healthy. That was a scary that was a scary offense, and to think that that's what Andy had, them the tools that Andy had at his disposal, and all the more crazier to think that we pretty much let Chip Kelly blow that whole team up. Um, it would have been nice to see what they could do with another year, but that's kind of under the bridge. Who knows if things went differently, we may not have gotten the teams that we have now. So you just never know how things gonna play out. But my Mount Rushmore of Philly wide receivers would have to be, got to put T.O. on there. I'm putting AJ on there. I feel like the first three you said, like DJs, you got to put him on a Philly Mount Rushmore. Just everything that he did since he been in the league. Still like one of the best deep threats of all time. And that's not even with Philly. I just think that's just in the league, period. But in that fourth spot,
Man, I forgot about Smitty. You could put Smitty on there.
I was about to. I was about to say in that fourth spot, I'm gonna put Smitty, and that might just be a little bit of recency bias. But when you look at his body of work, um, he ain't been nothing less than a dog since he been in the league. Obviously, he broke DJ's rookie record for the most receiving yards from Eagles wide receiver. And then he pretty much 1,000-yard wide receiver when he healthy. So he helps make AJ that more dangerous because you got to pick your poison with them two. You don't want to put just one person on either one. And if you do got one person on them, that's what hurts going with the ball. Because for a fact, Smitty done made some of the most amazing catches that we done seen over the past 3 years. And it just seemed like every year he give us something new. Like he kill us. He normally kill Washington when he play him. Um, he kill him with a one-handed catch every year for some reason. And he come down with, not only do he come up with big catches, but it's like the times that he come up with his catches. Like he become one of our most clutch wide receivers. So even though his game is different from Avant, the fact that the way we trusted Avant is the same way that we trust Smitty now. So yeah, I had to put Smitty in that fourth
Yeah, I wasn't even.
spot.
I wasn't even thinking. I knew I was forgetting somebody. I probably would put Smitty in that fourth position too, because I wasn't even thinking about him. Probably over who I said Avant.
You
So I
said,
probably would.
yeah,
I
Avant,
probably
yeah.
would have him over Avant, and then I probably have Avant and Jerry Macklin as my honorable mentions. But and basically, yeah, Smitty, like you said, Smitty been putting in work, and being somebody that we drafted, I ain't gonna say he'll play his whole career in Philly, but he'll get
I
another
hope so.
contract. He'll probably
Oh
get
yeah.
another contract in Philly for sure. So he'll
He
probably
could have
play.
already been gone.
He'll play the majority of his career in Philly.
Yeah, with the core that we have, as long as them boys still as long as they don't fall out for one or injuries or something like that crazy happen, we probably could keep them. Cause for one, hurts ain't I ain't gonna say they selfish, but they made their contracts in a way where it's not killing us and we can pay other guys. And
You seen that
Smitty,
report that just came out?
yeah, yeah. And I mean, and honestly, when we first saw the deal, it looked like a team friendly deal, like from when he signed it. So we when you look at Smitty in particular, when he went ahead and signed his contract extension, that was another one of them team friendly deals because he could have got top money. He could have went somewhere and got 30 mil easy. You don't think that Tennessee would have paid him 32 million dollars to come be the guy?
Who pay
Smitty.
pay pay Smitty to come be the guy? Yeah, they just paid damn Ridley, so so I wouldn't put it past him. And not that they would have been wrong, but like you said,
Right.
had it been a situation that he would have been available, they would have. I think they would have came and got Smitty just off the strength of the AJ situation. Like if we would
Gotcha.
have let him come available. But yeah, man, it's a crazy duo, man. I never would have thought we would have had this do a wide. Like you said, we just went so long without having like any wide receivers. It's crazy to like now that we got wide receivers, it's like, dang, you gotta enjoy it because you don't know how long this gonna last. Cause even if say they play another 5 years in Philly, after them 5 years, if you go through a drought, it's gonna be like, dang, I remember when we had AJ and Smitty. So you gotta enjoy it while you're in the moment.
Hey, you know who else is an honorable mention though? Alshon Jeffrey.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think he did enough to be on the Mount Rushmore, but he definitely can at least be in the conversation.
Yeah, we had some receivers. I knew I was gonna forget somebody. Forgot about Alshon for sure, but he did his thing.
But yeah, that's pretty much like all that I had on the docket for this week. I just wanted to show AJ some love, especially with the kind of season that he had. And it just seemed like last year in particular, he was just getting a lot of hate for whatever reason. Um, but now he a Super Bowl champ. He got it looked like he putting in some more work. Looked like he also got him a new platform that he launched. I don't know if it's a podcast or what, but he doing some kind of content creation that looked pretty dope. But look like he's staying focused. He back in the lab. I look forward to of course another 1,000 yard season out of him. That's easy. That ain't nothing. Um, but did you have anything else you wanted to touch on before we got out of here today?
Nah, I can't think of nothing. We pretty much hit everything that I kind of want to talk about. Um, One
Yeah,
thing we missed
we
on
uh
any news
we in
that
that
came
part.
out lately.
Now we kind of now that OTAs and minicamp is over, we kind of in that part of the season where it's like kind of like the only true off season that we gonna get. Like ain't nothing really gonna happen. Them boys out of camp. I don't think they report back to camp until July 22nd. So we got about a month um of not really a lot going on. So this is when we going us and other content creators get kind of creative with what we talk about, but we still gonna give y'all that heat every week. Um Make sure you tune in next week, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to the Down South Philly show. This has been another dope episode on the show. We had Dom and DP. We are your co-hosts. Make sure y'all tune in. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see y'all next week.
Peace.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.